Yahoo! 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 Oh my goodness.
Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, bringing you my review for Astro Rescue Mission, developed by first-party Sony developer Japan Studio and releasing on PlayStation VR on October 2nd for an estimated retail price of $40. Of course, that depends on your region. Astro Rescue Mission is a brand new platformer developed exclusively for use with PSVR. Take control of Astro, the captain bot, and go on an epic VR rescue mission to save your fellow crew who are dispersed all over space. This unexpected and totally welcome sequel to the Playroom minigame Robot Rescue looks primed to become the next big platformer for video games everywhere. Let's find out. As always guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for updates, hit that bell icon. As always, graphics are up first. Astro Rescue Mission is a beautiful game, plain and simple. When jumping into a level, you are greeted with a holodeck grid-like mesh, which moments later materializes into what can only be described as a magical feeling, as the kid inside you screams with glee at the playground laid all around you. And that's only the first level. Every consecutive level builds on this and delivers to the player memorable level after memorable level, growing ever more involved, fun, and dynamic as the campaign progresses. With no pro patch in sight, Astrobot astounds with almost perfect cartoon visuals. Bursting with color, levels are incredibly sharp in the headset, with barely a jagged edge to be seen. Draw distance is also fantastic when looking ahead at the level before me or looking back at where I have come from. I was greeted with sharp, detailed, and beautiful textures. Astrobot is one of those rare VR games that honestly looks almost as sharp as it does on the social screen, and considering it's in full 3D and surrounding you in VR, that's amazing. The water stages being a standout, as the lush water looked truly amazing on the surface, then had me actually holding my breath as the level lowered me into the depths of the level ahead. While maybe not being very original in level design, you will see all the famous platform level locales. Jungle stage, check. Minecart stage, check. Cave stage, water stage, cloud stage, check, check, check. However, this is VR, and Japan Studio takes these ideas and runs with them, using verticality, immersiveness, and a great awareness of the player actually existing inside the world to take these level design tropes to places we have never experienced. Enemy minion variety could have been a little more varied, but that's honestly nitpicking, and what is here is animated to platforming perfection, often changing form and clomping around the stage, as enemy minions do. Boss fights, well of course, fun, are made all the more memorable due to their creative design and excellent animation, truly bringing them to life on screen. Astro, your hero bot, is of course animated superbly, coming off, as my wife would say, cute. Astro aptly hobbles across the level, teetering on edges, sliding down embankments, and even getting his dance on at the completion of a stage. And while Astro doesn't reach the personality levels of Quill, he still makes a nice, albeit low-key impression here on his first real outing. And finally, it's the little things that truly make Astrobot Rescue Mission so amazing visually. I found myself like a kid in a candy store watching the water gun mode on my DS4, looking all around as a beanstalk grew up around me, or even the simple touch of actually blowing into the microphone to blow apart a seeded dandelion, and then watching all the tiny seeds float around me. Astrobot is bursting with moments like these and truly creates a wonderful place to play in. And that brings us to sound. Not surprisingly, Astrobot Rescue Mission is top tier across the board when looking at the sound package. Astrobot's sound mix bursts from the seams, from world effects to enemy sounds and objective-based sounds like hidden robots in the need of rescue. Everything here is presented in lush and dynamic 3D audio and surrounds the player like a warm blanket. Platform games should feel like comfort food to the gamer's soul, and Astrobot absolutely does. This is largely due to its eclectic and diverse soundtrack, coming off very much like classic platform music without sounding like a carbon copy of anything prior. The songs presented here never reach the heights of some of the classic Mario, Sonic, or say Banjo-Kazooie music, but each stage has its own theme and feel, making every level feel special and unique. Of note is how the sound designers use dynamics in their mix. Some levels start slow and are void of music while you walk around, only to suddenly sweep in with the bombastic score as Astro jumps into action. This ebb and flow throughout the sound mix helps give the sound mix some space and nuance instead of constantly bombarding the player with music and sound cues. All in all, Astrobot delivers a first-rate sound package that succeeds in almost everything it does, easily matching the best of the best when looking at the platform game Hall of Fame. And that brings us to gameplay. Robot Rescue, the one-off affair found amongst the Playroom VR bundle at launch, was easily the standout minigame. Time and time again, I would see people applaud it across Reddit and Facebook groups and asking if they would ever make it into a full game. I often replied with, doubtful, thinking that with Sony selling off the Crash Bandicoot series, they would never double down on a VR platform game of their own. And boy am I glad I'm wrong. Astrobot Rescue Mission comes blasting onto PSVR, and after completing the majority of the 20 missions, 6 boss fights, and 26 challenge stages, I am overjoyed to report that Sony may have a new mascot and marquee platformer on their hands. As the game begins, you are greeted by maybe one of Astrobot's only weak points, and that is its lack of story. Your ship explodes and you are tasked with finding all your robot friends strewn across space. And that's the story. Yep, super deep. While I've never once played a platform game for the story, and honestly, I didn't really miss it, it does seem like a missed opportunity for world creation and the introduction of a main antagonist. When you think Mario, you think Bowser or Koopa. When you think Sonic, you think Dr. Robotnik. Astro unfortunately sidesteps this, and as a result does tend to feel like more of the same found in Playroom, and not a full realization. However, all that being said, once you jump into the first handful of missions, all that goes away, as you are immersed in childhood like glee as you run and jump literally all around you. The game is split into 5 worlds, each with a boss fight at the end. The first few levels, while neat and fun, do tend to feel a bit safe as the game allows the player a trial stage or two. However, by stage 3 and especially by the second world, Astrobot turns into a prized heavyweight, delivering heavy blow after heavy blow. Seriously guys, every level is better than the previous and totally unique to the other 19 missions, with the game constantly throwing new mechanics at the player to keep things fresh. Astro's moveset is very simple, maybe overly, but what Japan's studio has created is a game that is easy for anyone to get into and have fun with. And because of this, Astrobot may get a lot of people playing VR that normally wouldn't. Mario 64 comparisons have been used often from game media who've played Astrobot. The feeling you get when playing does have that Miyamoto magic, but the gameplay here is much more reminiscent of another Sony platformer, Crash Bandicoot. Like the Crash series, Astrobot has you moving along a mostly linear path, deviating only for secrets. This style of 3D platformer allows the game to deliver a specific experience not necessarily possible when in a more open world setting. Control of Astrobot is spot on, as is the tracking and use of the DS4 for the multitude of tool attachments used in game. Not once did I feel like I failed a jump due to sloppy controls or a bad camera angle, the latter being an issue that has plagued 3D platformers forever. VR and Astrobot more specifically do away with this issue entirely, as your head is the camera and in your complete control. In fact, the game will intentionally have you looking around corners and behind you, subtly increasing your immersion in the game world, and at times bringing the player right into the action, requiring you to headbutt, punch, and dodge objects in the world in order to progress. This level of immersion and interaction is so much fun, and it takes Astrobot to places traditional gaming just can't. While the difficulty does skew to the easier side of things, not unlike last year's Mario Odyssey, Astro does see a difficulty spike as you progress through the levels. More seasoned gamers looking for a challenge will find unlocking and beating the additional 26 challenge stages more to their liking. These are discovered by finding the hidden chameleon in each level. Once this camouflaged lizard has been spotted, you are awarded with the level's challenge stage. These timed events offer medal awards for top scores and take game mechanics introduced in the main campaign to entirely new places with new levels and a sharply increased difficulty for those looking for the top spot in each. Motion sickness could be a slight issue, but hopefully not too bad. The game is in motion as you move along behind Astro as he progresses. Underwater sequences and the famous minecart stage being some ones to watch for. In my household, we use the VR motion sickness guide called the Wifey Meter. I luckily do not suffer from VR sickness at all. However, my wife is on the other end of that spectrum and a great measure of game health for those who suffer like her. Astrobot, like Robot Rescue, made her feel a bit off, but not quit the game bad, so know that going in. Astrobot will be played seated with a minimum amount of room required, but please be able to turn around in your seat. Like I said, Astrobot Rescue Mission is simple, accessible, fun. However, this simpleness may be the only true knock against it. I couldn't help but want a bit more from Astrobot. Lacking are mini games along the journey, progression systems, power-ups, multiplayer, or even the threat and challenge of game lives continues, or a truly worthwhile reason to use all the collected coins. Don't get me wrong, I loved every second of the 6-hour campaign and the additional 2 or 3 hours found on the challenge levels, but there was a sense of emptiness and wishing that Japan's studio had taken Astrobot just one more step beyond the Robot Rescue minigame. What we do have, however, is 8+ hours of pure joy and fun, and a masterclass example of where 3D platforming is headed in the future. And it's in VR. All hail the mighty Astro. And that brings us to fun factor in my final review. Robot Rescue is truly spectacular platform gaming and the next evolution of the genre. With its first-class visuals, fantastic sound, and combination solid platforming controls meets fun interactive motion controls, Astrobot really does deliver on all expectations. It may play it a bit safe on its first VR outing, but it proves VR should be the new platform of choice for platformers, as it easily elevates the magical feeling that is so key in this genre. As you know, I rate games on a basis of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. Astrobot is an absolute buy. This is easily top 5 PSVR material and one of the best platform games I have played in decades. I grew up with the Nintendo being bundled with Mario Bros., then later Mario 3. The Genesis was bundled with Sonic and the N64 came with Mario 64. The evolution of gaming continues and I cannot wait to see people open up their PSVRs under the tree this Christmas to an Astrobot bundle. Enjoy, guys. That's it for me, guys. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for updates, hit that bell icon. I will catch you guys on my next video.